Well, Peter Dunne, she ain't going anywhere, is she?
No, that was a pretty impressive speech in the circumstances. I think that probably she knows that she's not going to be around in 3 years' time, but she's not going to go in the meantime, and that will hopefully give National a chance to try and rebuild in an ordered way, not a panicked way.
Julia?
Well, I think you can't be human and watch that and not have some feelings for her. I mean, watching the Crusher leader party that's just been crushed. The next 3 years, I'm not sure if she's going to leave anytime soon, but she certainly spoke well in her concession just then.
We haven't talked so much about what Labour is going to do now. I mean, they have extraordinary power, unbridled power, historic power. Peter Dunne, how do you expect them to use it?
Well, I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of change, actually, because they haven't been as transformational as they promised. They haven't been as sort of innovative as they promised. I think that suits the Prime Minister's style, which is actually
they've got no one to blame now.
Quite cautious. Well, they have got no one to blame, which I think will make them even more risk-averse. So I think that what the Labour Party will do is say, look, these are unprecedented circumstances, tough times, etc. We need to move very cautiously. I know others will be arguing for more progressive change, but as I say, putting myself in their position, I'd say, given their past, they won't be for radical change now, and that's going to set up the challenge for the next election, given the sorts of economic circumstances that are likely to be ahead of us.
This is the most powerful government under MMP. This is the most powerful left progressive, potentially progressive government. Our generation is watching now. There's no way that they can go ahead and stick. They might as well colour themselves blue if they're going to stick to some of the things that
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying,
what would you like to
do that?
And what would you like to see? What will you be watching for? And people who occupy your space in politics, what will you be pushing them to do?
They've been talking transformation since 2017.
Yes, they have, and now they can do it.
And
no
they've
excuses,
taken
right?
on incrementation as their policy. Now they have no excuses. They have no excuses as well when you look at if I think for Māori, they're looking at returning all the Māori seats, except for Waiariki, watch this space. You're looking at a younger generation holding hope, looking at Jacinda, who's meant to be the Prime Minister of Transformation. Now is the opportunity, and not just opportunity, it's responsibility. Can't come out and talk a big game and now have the key to the car to drive it wherever you want and then decide that they're just going to stay in first or second gear. There's just going to be no excuse. Or come 2023, they will be held accountable for it.
Well, let's look at Waiariki. That's been in play all night, hasn't it? At the moment, we've got this on a knife edge. You've got Arawari Whaipooti. He's actually ahead at the moment, isn't he? Where are we? Yep, we've got it up there now. So that's as far ahead as he's been all night. He's, what is he, 150 votes ahead there against Tamati Coffee. He could win.
Absolutely, he could win, and that'd be a huge win for the Māori Party to get that seat. I think they're playing a two-election sort of round here. They've run a fantastic campaign for a party outside of Parliament. Whaipooti, he has always had a strong opportunity in this seat. It's going to be hard to call tonight. It'll come down to a recount.
There's another factor. Did I see before that their party votes around 1%?
Well, that's a good point.
If he gets that up to 1.2 and wins the seat, there could be two of them.
And they could get that with the overhang and some special votes.
It's roughly, the maths is, you're right, roughly the maths is about 1.2. You get a second one in, isn't it?
And that would be Debbie, which would be a powerful combination if Māori Party got in this round.
They have been impressive. I watched a number of those debates that Māori TV and the Hui did as well.
Yeah.
And they have been quite impressive. Taku Te Whereas as well.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting you say they did look like they were building for 2023, but to get a foothold, if that happens, and you can imagine someone demanding a recount or waiting for specials on that, because it's going to be very, very tight. What is it, 130 odd votes at the moment with Rawiri Whaipooti ahead of Tamati Coffee, but that's been bouncing around all night, hasn't it, that seat? But there's a good chance that that's one they could take.
It is, and they have run a great campaign, and just mahi as well to Māori media who have really put the issues to Māori audiences, and I think that we're not considered in polling, so we don't really get to see those perspectives and the gains that Māori Party have had. We've seen an increase in Māori Māori enrolling to vote at about almost 10%, and we've seen a double the voting population for Māori leading up, in the 2 weeks leading up, than we did in 2017. And I think a large part of that is Māori actually having issues on the table and genuine options with what the Māori Party have brought in their campaign and with the people that they've brought into their candidacy, and also with the Labour Māori MPs. They've been performing strongly and also constrained in many ways, no doubt fighting around the table, but they haven't had probably the stronghold to push further, and Māori Party have been able to pull that to the light.